Hi, good morning, everyone. Thanks to Max for the introduction. I'm online and you can ask any question what you require by using the comment section. I will try to reply as soon as possible. Today, I would like to talk to you through how companies can ensure their sustainability of their procurement decision by working closely with their suppliers to lessen their environmental and social impact and position themselves strong growth. Moving to the next slide, understanding the concept. For every purchasing decision made, no matter how large or small, there is an impact other than financial. This could be an impact on someone's livelihood, the water we drink, how a company act ethically, or how we are contributing to the economy is important. Sustainable procurement takes into account the total cost, economic, environmental, and social within a wider framework of good governance. These four factors are called the quadruple bottom line relate to total purchase cost and not just upfront dollar expense. Commitment is sustainable procurement ensure values which are core to the business are integrated through the company's supply chain. Moving to the next slide, sustainability issue in supply chain. Now that we understand the concept, it is important to see how they tie into issue supply chain currently face. A poorly managed supply chain is at risk of being exposed to a number of issues, visible and invisible. Visible issues include mostly those involved in delivering a product to a customer and evolving with customer needs, which is central around the business model and the company's ability to innovate. Invisible issues include pollution and damage to the environment, exploitation of labor, data breaches, and information security losses, corruption and bribery, etc. All of these can be managed by integrating sustainable procurement principle through a company's supply chain and into the life cycle of company's product and services. Moving to the next slide, elements of sustainable procurement. There are a number of key concepts important to sustainable procurement. As discussed earlier, the quadruple bottom line, QBL, is at the heart of sustainable procurement. Whole of life costing is a practical method to put dollar value on all aspects of QBL. It changes the procurement mindset from the best value for money to the best value across the asset life cycle. Similar to the whole of life costing, life cycle assessment understands, quantifies, and communicates the environmental and social performance of product, services, processes, assets, and organization. Circular economy is another key concept in sustainable procurement, which looks beyond the take, make, and dispose, and instead aims to create a closed loop. Rather than sending a product to a landfill at the end of life, if reused, reprocessed, or recycled into another product. Move to the next slide, drivers of sustainable procurement. A high-functioning supply chain can allow component to use sustainability as a lever to improve the reach, functionality, and access to revenue. To summarize this chart in front of you, there are four main themes. Risk reduction. Financial impact on brand value from bad supplier practices. Example, child labor, local pollution. Economic cost of sustainable procurement disruption. Example, non-compliance with environmental regulations. Two, cost reduction. Reduction in total cost of ownership linked to reduced energy cost, reduced overspecification, reduced consumption, and reduced social and environmental compliance costs. Three, revenue growth. Additional revenue through innovation of eco-friendly products, services, price premium, or income from recycling programs. Four, improved company culture. Moving to the slide, strengthening the business case. By managing the improving environmental, social, and economic performance throughout supply chain, companies can conserve resources, optimize processes, uncover product innovation, save costs, increase productivity, and promote corporate values. Research shows the business case for supply chain sustainability is going up. Sustainable procurement practices result in 15 to 30% measurable brand value increase. 89% of consumers believe sustainability could have positive financial impact. 90% of studies on the cost of capital show that sustainability standard lowers the cost of companies. Sustainable procurement practices can reduce cost linked to sustainable procurement by 9 to 16%. Now we see how the organization acts. Incorporating sustainability into company's supply chain is complex, but the failure to act may be the biggest risk of all. Map your supply chain. Many companies do not have a comprehensive understanding of the sustainability impact of their supply chain. As early step, it is to inventory suppliers, identify the most significant environmental and social challenges they face, and prioritize efforts with suppliers. Communicate expectation. Focusing on sustainability within your supply chain is a great way to communicate corporate values and culture to your suppliers and customers. Establishing and communicating expectation through supplier code of conduct is a critical step involving suppliers to your sustainability efforts. Baseline supplier performance. Once you know who your target suppliers are and have set compliance standards, collecting data from supplier through a simple benchmarking questionnaire will provide you an understanding of your starting point. Develop training and capacity building program. This is an important step in improving sustainability and driving behavioral changes throughout your supply chain. Many external resources are available to support these efforts, and some are tailored to specific sector needs. Drive performance improvement. Once supplier baseline performance is understood, an audit program can measure performance improvement over time. Join industry collaboration. It's very, very important. Many companies recognize that complex supply chain challenges cannot be solved by individual effort, and that industry-wide collaboration is required. Governance. It is important that the company reviews its own practices to ensure they are leading from the front in the sustainability practices it expects from its supplier. Moving to the next slide, elements of supplier code of conduct. There are areas business can focus on to manage sustainability in their supply chain. It can all be tied together under a code of conduct. A supplier code of conduct is created for the purpose of ensuring that the company's suppliers put in place safe working condition and their employees and treated with respect. Also, their production process being responsible and environmental friendly. Key themes of a supplier code of conduct to include labor practices and standards. This includes safeguard against child labor, non-discrimination, health and safety, working condition, working hours, compensation, right to association, freely chosen employment. Environmental policy. This comprised product and material use and technology and transport system. Ethics, establishing anti-corruption measures and adhering for fair business practices in winning businesses, employees, and in managing partner relationships upstream in the supply chain. Review and documentation policy, how it will be motivated and monitored and reviewed. Important standards found to many suppliers, code of conduct, and set from international environmental and labor standards. Company may choose to use the standards as guidelines in the supplier code of conduct or ensure that the factories of their suppliers adhere to these specific standards. Moving to the next slide, success factors in the first 2 years. A company can measure the early success of its sustainable procurement program if it has implemented a company-wide commitment either standalone or as a part of existing policy. Conduct risk assessment to identify supply chain risk and categorize in order to make informed decision on procurement and supplier due diligence. Updated standard contractual terms as a minimum in addition to building consideration into supplier questionnaire and performance management. Training of our own employees. Training can help stop, identify, and manage risk companies' complete chain, supply chain. Evolution of existing KPI. Most companies are starting by understanding how their existing metrics can help them monitor performance. KPI should ideally be for both employees and the contracts and also meet legislative requirements. Let's see the case study of IKEA. IKEA IKEA for having applauded for setting a progressive ladder of standard for the supplier that seeks to drive continuous improvement of performance. In the video, we listen to why the IKEA group sees sustainable living as an everyday choice and incorporate that thinking into their product. Now we see one more real case. It's from Puma. Puma developed over 21 months of more sustainable packaging and distribution system in keeping with Puma ongoing commitment to sustainability. That's a Puma clever little bag. Let's go for the next one, leaders in sustainable procurement. Companies have responded by recognizing the need to set clear standards for their suppliers, which often take the form of code of conduct that need to be met prior to any commitment for procurement, and which are then typically audited on an annual basis. Morgan Spencer, Plan A, aims to make it most sustainable retailer in the world, which it claims is our way to help protect the planet by sourcing responsibly, reducing waste, and helping communities. Nike has come further with its ambition to double its business while having environmental impact by minimizing its environmental footprint, transforming manufacturing to be lean, green, equitable, and empowering, and using its brand to inspire and unleash human talent. Nestle has embraced the concept of shared value, that is, doing business in a way that both delivers shareholders' values and benefit to society, with priority areas being protection of scarce water resources throughout its supply chain and also investing in rural development to ensure sustainable protection of the raw material and the commodities of the companies to grow. Unilever Sustainable Living Plan decouples Unilever's growth from its environmental impact while increasing positive social impact across its supply chain and driving the profitable growth of its brand. Walmart, the world's largest retailer with over 260 million customers, has established a sustainability index to provide sustainability information about product at a point of purchase based on information provided by suppliers. Now moving to leading factories. This has come from the World Economic Forum, announced in March last month. This year, the addition of 15 new sites to the global Lighthouse network. This community of manufacturers show leadership in using fourth industrial revolution technologies to transform factories, value chain, and business model for compelling financial and operational return. Notably, these leading innovators are demonstrating how digitally infused operations go beyond productivity improvement to create sustainable and profitable growth. 53% are seeing measurable and marked sustainability benefits. If you could see, there are a couple of companies, and Johnson and Johnson has my ex-colleague worked with me, is a vice president supply chain there. Moving to the next slide, reimagining procurement. Before I conclude, I would like to take some time to talk through the COVID has created a path for us to reimagine procurement. As outlined by McKinsey, 5 steps will help procurement leaders address the current situation and set up organization for success. Strengthening the resilience of your supply chain is key to ensuring long-term success. To do this, organization must build transparency, address multi-source option, and have business continuity plan developed and tested for a range of scenarios. Rethinking supply chain strategies will help organization understand, shift its supply dynamics, and provide them with the ability to re-access pricing and specification. This will help focus effort on value creation rather than fixing issues. Collaboration with supplier is very important key. So organizations that invest in building strong partnership, build an innovation and trust will benefit from improved performance. Digitization is a buzzword post-COVID, and those that accelerate digitization and leverage analytics have competitive advantage and are better positioned to counter issues. Lastly, it is important future-proof organization for changes such as the ones that COVID has thrown to us. This includes adapting agility in the way you respond to changing circumstances and building capabilities to address new ways of working. Reshaping procurement processes. Here, I'd like to talk about the few steps that organization can take, short, medium, and long term, to reshape the procurement process. Short term, ensure business continuity. Identify critical supplier to your business and engage in discussion to understand their current challenges and priorities. Reduce upfront spend costs. Secure capacity and place upfront orders to ensure availability or priority. Evaluate near-shore supply option to overcome transport shortages and international border closure. Medium term. Strengthen your partnership. Example, yearly payment, lend machinery, share expertise, etc. Review your supplier portfolio to mitigate your risk exposure. Embed sustainability goals and consideration to improve the sustenance of the supply chain while considering environmental, social, and ethical aspects. Strengthen capabilities to account for evolving and new skills, and continue to improve the agility of your procurement processes. Longer term, equip your company with the real-time supplier data, important, to manage supplier performance and anticipate upcoming issues. Automate and digitize to reinvest time and effort in strategic activities. Engage supplier portfolio diversification, embedding supplier market intelligence into your sourcing activities. While I come to the end of my presentation, I just want to show you something what has happened in this month of March in China. Nike and Adidas and H&M, the brands which are well known to all of us, not taking cotton from Xinjiang due to alleged human rights issues. Others may follow the same line, China afraid. Chinese e-commerce website blocked. And they said, either quit Better Cotton Initiative or get out of China. Basically, they have thrown them out of China and the local manufacturers are very happy. It's like most of the application apps, and now this is not available. Just the recent paper published by Gardner about sustainability in packaging. Things are moving fast and be ready to move on. Finally, I hope this provided an insight into the fundamentals of sustainable procurement and equips you with some strategies that you can use to take the next step. I'd like to conclude by saying a risk managed supply chain is an efficient one. Thank you all and happy to take questions.